You're listening to the Wanderlust Swingers podcast with Aussie hosts Kate and Daryl. If you're curious about exploring your sexuality or the swinging, hot wifing and non-monogamous lifestyle, you've definitely come to the right podcast. Or maybe you just love travel adventures. Either way, we share our personal, sometimes juicy, sexy stories as well as swingers club and event reviews, interviews with other sassy people, and of course our global swinging adventures. We try to bring you a look into the diverse lifestyle that the swinging and non-monogamous community has. We hope you enjoy. Now let's get into the episode. Hey guys, and welcome back to episode 158. Today's episode is all about Hedonism Swingers Resort in Jamaica. We went there for 7 days and we're going to do a full review of the facilities, the rooms and everything else. We put a message out on Twitter to ask if you prefer to mix it in with our journey and everyone said no, 2 separate episodes. So here we are. Daryl, cultural tidbit. I got one for Jamaica.
Okay.
Yeah, are you ready?
I'm excited.
Okay. It is illegal to be homosexual in Jamaica. Whilst you can be sent to prison, there are many articles that suggest that this is rarely enforced. And since 2019, local activists have been trying to push back against the law to no avail. So it's actually still illegal to be homosexual in Jamaica.
Hope they never go to Hedo.
Yeah, so it is. There's still a lot of stigma. When I was reading about this, there's obviously the law, and yes, you can be sent to prison, but there is a lot of stigma in the local communities, I found out as well, where, you know, suggesting that you're bisexual or gay is still something that is a big no-no. Apparently there's a lot of violence, I guess, that comes from that, which is upsetting, but hey, these local activists, they're trying to do their best, so hopefully they get somewhere with that. But that is the Jamaica cultural tidbit.
Well, that's a bit of a downer.
It is a bit of a downer, but hey, you know, people are trying to do stuff about it, so that's a good thing, right? So we went to Jamaica for 7 nights. I've been wanting to visit hedonism basically since 2016, since we started this journey, right?
I wouldn't say it was that early, but
No.
Yeah, it was pretty early on.
Pretty early on. I guess when you're in Australia and you hear about all these like resorts around the world, you want to experience them and you have not, because we don't have those in Australia, right? So we went there with a group of friends, basically with the intention to just hang out with a small group of friends, experience this and have a good time. I feel the need to put a disclaimer at the front of this podcast, and let me explain why. I want to be very clear about the intentions of this episode. It's to provide an honest and transparent review of our time at hedonism and to clear up any uneducated assumptions. Nobody sponsored this event, travel, or visit to hedonism. We paid for it ourselves. The only people who sponsored this trip were the delightful folks at our credit card company. Fair?
Yeah.
Which we definitely overspent. But hey, moving on. Where is hedonism in Jamaica? So the accessibility of it, it's in Negril. It's about an hour to an hour and a half transit from the Montego Bay Airport.
Or 15 minutes.
Or 15 minutes. Daryl, do you want to explain how we got there in 15 minutes versus the 1 to 1.5 hours?
Yeah, we took a plane.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the explanation done. Highly recommend it.
Yeah, it was. Look, it's not a cheap addition to your holiday. It's $370 one way, and it's a little charter plane. So it does add $370 to your trip, but it gets you from Montego Bay to Negril and basically right across the road from the resort in 15 minutes. And it was nice. Like, I felt like it was a nice start to our holiday. Like, after the travel in, having that view from above.
Yeah, absolutely. Quite a few people said to me, well, but you get to see some of Jamaica if you come up by bus. I feel like you probably should just leave the resort and go and see Jamaica if you want to. Like, it's the flight is a really nice way to do it. I don't know what the other way's like because we haven't done it.
Yeah.
We flew back as well.
Yeah, we weren't actually intending to fly on the charter plane, but then in the end we decided to, and then after the week there we were like, fuck it, let's do it on the way back too. Hence why the credit card company sponsored this trip. Thanks, guys. So, talking about cost. People want to know about the cost of these kinds of resorts. So we paid $3,206, that 6 is very important, for the 7 nights that we were there. So that's about $458 per night USD for the, I guess, the all-inclusive experience, right? So I don't know why a lot of these places cruises do this too. They always put the price per person, which is interesting to me because even if you go as a single, you have to pay the full price. So you're always paying double it. So I don't know why people do the per person amount. It is $458 is what we paid for our entry level room. How do you feel about the cost overall?
I mean, it's an all-inclusive place, so it's kind of what you expect, right?
Yeah.
It's certainly not cheap by comparison to any of the decent hotels we've stayed at, but you don't go to Hedo or desire or carp to hang out in your hotel room.
Yeah.
It's there you're there to meet the people. So realistically, you're paying for the time that you get to spend with people. So, no cooking, no cleaning, no having to wait on drinks. It's just you're there to catch up with individuals.
So the way I normally try to think about it is that if you're paying normally like $200 to $250 a night for your average hotel, and then you're doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner on site, for example, and let's call that $20 to $30 each, and then you're having some drinks, like it adds up. So you can understand where the price comes from. And looking at other all-inclusive resorts in some of these areas, not being a lifestyle resort, it's about the same price. So you really, whilst it is, can be a really stretched budget for most of us, it certainly isn't exorbitant in the way that, they've taken a normal resort and then said, hey, because it's a niche market, we're going to mark up. So it is reasonable for the area and the all-inclusiveness of it all.
The area? What do you mean by the area?
So the other resorts in the area that are non-lifestyle resorts are the same price. Actually more expensive, but they were a bit fancier. So
yeah. Okay.
When you're looking at that, they're not putting like a premium on the fact that it's a lifestyle resort. So they're not taking the price of the resort next door and then adding $200 a night because you get to be nude and stuff.
Yeah.
So that, I think, was reasonable.
Yeah.
Now, the entrance and check-in, so it was about 60% occupancy while we were there. Apparently, that's what we were told. We don't know that for sure, but that was what we were told at the front desk. They were running at about 60% occupancy. When we got to the hotel or the resort, you obviously have to go up and check in. Do you want to run through kind of what that looked like for us?
Yeah, so we were dropped off out the front. We put our bags to the side, which is, I suppose, pretty standard. We did a similar thing in Desire as well, where they kind of look after your bags until your room's ready. So we then basically wandered into the reception. The reception sent us over to another desk.
Yeah, that's right, yep.
That we were told, it's going to be a while before you get the chance to check in. So I think we arrived at...
Quite early.
Yeah, we arrived at like 9 or 10 a.m.
Maybe 9, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so from there, they said, look, it's going to be at least midday before your room's available. It turned out it was a little later than that. I think it was about 1 p.m. that we ended up being able to grab out or move into our room. But prior to that, breakfast was... So people were just kind of starting... It was 9 because people were just starting to wander in for breakfast. And we sort of sat down, had some breakfast and just waited for the room. And a whole heap of people wandered in to say hello, people that we were there to catch up with. Some arrived shortly after, some were already on site, so we managed to keep ourselves entertained, I suppose.
Yeah, that's not uncommon. If you get there really early in the morning, it's not uncommon that your room's not going to be ready, especially if they're running at high occupancy, they've just got to flip the room. So one of the things, just a tidbit here, if you're coming in late the night before, maybe don't check into the hotel because you've got to pay that nightly rate. Just check into a cheap airport hotel and then go there first thing in the morning. Your room's not going to be ready, but at least you can have the facilities.
The other thing is if you're flying in on the first flight of the day from anywhere in the US, then don't bother getting the pass, whatever it's called, the Bayou pass. Mobay pass, yeah. Don't bother.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Yeah, do it any other time of the day, from what I understand, but if you're on the first plane, don't bother. You're going to be one of the 50 people in the airport.
Yeah, that's true. So we were told coming in on a Saturday is a nightmare. Definitely get Club Mo Bay. Now, Club Mo Bay is where basically it's a VIP service. So you get off the flight and they greet you in the terminal. They walk you to immigration. They walk you to get your bags. They walk you through customs, and it's like a VIP, kind of like a fast pass at a theme park, right? We paid the money for that because everyone said to us, Saturday, nightmare. It's going to be 2 hours at the airport that you're going to have to wait. Definitely get Club Mo Bay. We paid for it. There was nobody there except our plane, and maybe there was like 40, 50 people on our plane. So we got the first flight out of JFK into Montego Bay, and there was bloody no one. So actually, I would recommend, although it's a shit day because you've got to get up super early to get to the airport, I would recommend it. None of that fucking around at the airport.
Wouldn't.
Daryl's out.
I wouldn't recommend it at all.
One thing I did feel with the check-in process was that they didn't really give us a lot of information about the resort. So they did ask us, hey, is this your first time here? And they didn't ask first time to any resort. They just said first time here. And we said yes. And the guy was like, cool. And then that was it. What I would have liked is some kind of like, hey, here's a map. The tour leaves at 10 o'clock or whatever it is. You can go here. Breakfast is on right now. Feel free to go here, do this. The pool bar opens at X time. There was none of that kind of orientation. You were just kind of left to your own devices, which was For us, even though we have been to many different places, I was a bit like, oh shit, what do we do? Where do we go? We're just going to wander around kind of thing. And
we were still checked in. I mean, they gave us our wristbands and stuff. We just didn't get any insight as to where everything was and what was happening at the time.
Yeah, exactly. So
Or a map.
That would have been great, but aside. The room. So we always stay in the entry-level room. We stayed this time, though, in a garden view nude room. So it's still entry-level, but it's on the nude side.
It's very entry level. We didn't get a fucking towel or an umbrella.
There's a joke about the whole towel umbrella thing. We'll tell that in the next episode when we talk about our funny experiences there. But it was a big room, though. The size of the room I thought was a good size room in comparison to what we've seen at...
Standard size hotel room. You've got a few feet on either side of the bed and then a bathroom in the sort of built into the back. Any of the double bed places that we stay in, generally around that size.
I like the fact that you had storage as well. So I liked being able to put your shit away. That was good. We were in H Block, which apparently was a good place to be because it's not too far from the nude pool.
Nothing's too far from the nude pool, just FYI.
Yeah.
It's the worst case walk is like 150 meters or yards for those of you out there who can't convert. Yeah, it's not a long stretch to get anywhere from anywhere on the resort. It's a big resort, but it's not huge amounts of walking.
Yeah, on that fact too, and we'll talk about this in the lessons learned area at the end of this podcast, but when you are heading to these places, you hear a lot of just information, you hear a lot of misconceptions, you hear about all this stuff, and you start to get this picture in your head of what this place is going to look like. And one of the things that we've been told over the years, and certainly even by people that go there, is like, oh, you have to stay on the nude side because then you don't want to walk all the way from the nude pool, all the way at the end of the night from the nude pool down to your room. Like, what a nightmare. And in my head, I was like, fuck, man, I got to pack like a packed lunch to get from one side to the other. And it's not that far at all. Like, it's a couple of minutes at best.
Yeah, I mean, it's at worst a 4-minute walk from one end of the resort to the other.
Yeah, so not too bad.
It's not a big stretch.
No. So the room, pretty basic room, as you would expect. Storage space, I loved it. They had a fridge in there. They had, the red light in the bathroom, signature Hedo light, I'm told. Everybody gets that photo, which I did as well, in front of the door. People complained about the whole toilet door, bathroom, using the toilet facilities when your partner's in the bed. People complained about that, like just the lack of privacy, I guess, because it's not a fully closed door. It kind of slides.
Well, it's just a sliding glass door, so there's no insulation. Like, if you're taking a shit, then somebody's going to hear you. Yeah.
Does that bother you? Like, did that bother you?
No. When you're in the bathroom, you do whatever the fuck you want. I mean, that's the place that you can get away with being stinky, shitty, smelly, and all the other things.
Yeah, a few people mentioned it to me, and I was like, oh,
freshen up. So. Maybe I'm not the right person to be asking.
Yeah, it didn't bother me. It bothered some people. If you look on the forum, some people were like, bring an extra sheet to like hang over the door and stuff. That did not bother me. I thought that the facilities were perfectly adequate and fine for an entry level room. Like, I had no problems.
Yeah, I mean, it was like I say, for me, it was very standard hotel room. I mean, I don't mean that's not a negative nor a positive. It's just hotel rooms are hotel rooms. I've been in many of them, and they all feel very similar. And this one felt very similar. It's a little more sexy, certainly, with the red light, and you forgot the mirror above the bed.
Oh, yeah, the mirror above the bed, yep.
Which we never used.
Yeah, we did. Oh, we didn't take a photo, do you mean?
No, we never used the mirror.
I was watching you give me a yoni massage.
Okay, well, you used the mirror. So so there's a mirror above the bed, which is... I mean, it's an interesting take. It depends on who you are, whether you're into that sort of thing or not, I suppose, but it's not something that I'm terribly excited by.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's that. The red light makes it a little more sexy. That's about it, really. I mean, otherwise the rooms are fairly normally furnished. Mm-hmm. It's not like there's dildos on walls and, anything like that. There's no single man, glory holes.
That's right. There's no lube dispenser on the outside of the bathroom area with like a condom dispenser. There's none of that kind of stuff happening.
So it's just, I mean, to me, it's a very regular entry level hotel room, double hotel room.
Yeah.
Which is, again, not a bad thing. It's actually quite nice in terms of the way it's furnished and everything. It's just a standard sort of hotel room.
Yeah, I'd agree. Let's talk about the pool, the facilities, the beach, the grounds. Like, let's talk about all of those things. Here's something I really loved. The water dispensers everywhere. So when you actually arrive, well, we didn't get ours for hours because we saw somebody else with these like little water bottles with their names on it. We're like, fucking, we didn't get those. And then later we got them. We managed to get them.
Yeah.
But the reason they give you those is because there's all these water dispensers all throughout the property, and in each of the little clumps of accommodation, they have these water dispensers, which is absolutely fantastic. And here is a gold tidbit for you. Take your water bottle up, get them to put ice in it, get ice water, and then take it back to your room, put it in the fridge, and then later, when you come back at whatever time you're coming back, you've got awesome chilled...
Why the fuck wouldn't you just take the bottle with you everywhere and refill
water.
it every 5 minutes?
So amazing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, just take it with you and then refill it at the bar before you come back to the room with nicely chilled fresh water.
Well, if you're dancing and stuff, you might leave it somewhere, but I did carry mine around every day, all day.
Yeah, the amount of fucking booze you drink, you really should be carrying around. Here's my tidbit. Take the fucking water with you, because if you don't, it's likely you're going to get some form of kidney failure from the lack of fucking, from dehydration, from the amount of booze you're going to drink.
Yeah, I did like that. I liked the fact that they had that water dispenser available. That was really, really cool. Dispensers everywhere. Multiples of them. Now, the beach was undergoing some renovations. So there was this bobcat going up and down the beach the entire time we were there, and piles of sand and everything else. They were also renovating some of the rooms. Now, some people might be turned off by that because, you know, you've gone on holidays and the next thing you know, there's a bobcat and you can't really walk up and down the beach. But they have to renovate at some point in time, so it didn't bother me at all. Like, they were renovating buildings, they had the bobcat up and down the beach, and I was like, okay, well, when are they going to do this? Like, unless they shut the resort down. It's also in a very wet, seasonal climate, so... Yeah.
Also, for those of you who don't know, a bobcat is a mini loader.
Oh, shit, is that not a global term?
No, that's an Australian term.
Oh, my God.
It's a brand.
Yeah, but...
Bobcat is a brand.
Oh, my God, okay. Is that what they call them elsewhere, mini loader?
Mini loaders.
With the little tray at the front?
Tray.
And the big wheels.
The loading area at the front.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, it's a mini loader. Okay. And why do they make that noise?
That's the noise.
Fucking hell.
Look, yeah, so they were doing some renovations
there. That mini
there.
loader's broken.
I mean, it's you can't get around it. Like, they've got to do it at some point in time. So I didn't really give a shit. I heard some people complaining about it, but that's just kind of you got to roll the dice, man.
Yeah, but it's only they only ran it during the day, and it was really quite discrete hours as well. Like, I think it was from 9 a.m. through to 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. It certainly wasn't, 6 a.m. you hear a jackhammer fire up.
No.
Because that shit would have gotten a lot more notes from me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we went in the rooms next door. We were quite a while away, but I can imagine the people next door, a 6 a.m. jackhammer, they'd be like, maybe not. Maybe not.
Yeah. I mean, look, I can understand if you're next door, that'd be a little upsetting even at fucking 9 a.m. But hey, it has to happen at some point. Exactly. You can always ask for a room shift if they've got one available.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what else I liked? I liked the fact that none of the chairs around the property, whether it was by the pool, by the new pool, by the prude pool, whether it was at the beach, none of the chairs were reserved, and they didn't have this like hierarchy of people at the resort. I really, really appreciated that.
I mean, hierarchy of people.
So at some of the places we've been to, you have to get to the pool at 6 a.m. to reserve your chair. And even then, if you have bought into the membership of that particular property, the first round of chairs around the pool are all reserved for those people that spend the $20,000, $30,000 on that membership. And then the people that don't spend that money struggle to get a chair. So I think that I liked that fact, the fact that there wasn't these reserved chairs. There wasn't really this hierarchy within the resort.
I don't remember that at all.
Don't you?
No.
Man.
I just sit on cunts' chairs. Fuck. If I'm on their chair, they'll just come over and say, "Get off my fucking chair." I get up and leave. Yeah, I mean, let me get you a fresh towel, sir. Yeah.
So let me get this straight. Somebody spent the $20,000-$30,000 to buy into the membership, and you're just going to like roll up and sit on their fucking chair without a care in the world.
I mean, should I not? I mean, if some fucker lets me through the business class line at the airport, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah, true.
I mean,
I liked it. You obviously don't. I
couldn't give a fuck.
You don't care because you didn't even notice it. But for me, that was like, oh, cool. I really like this.
Just sit on the end of. If somebody's laying down, I just sit on the end of their fucking chair.
Well, I think it's different if you know the person.
But I also don't lay down like you. I'm not sitting laying beside the pool or laying beside the beach. Just I don't know, reading, watching the stars go by, whatever.
Okay.
That's not my jam.
Let's talk about the beach. So another thing that I liked was that the beach was actually more secure. So there are a few vendors Someone said there's a few vendors that walk up and down the beach. I don't know. I think these guys are Hedo approved because otherwise there would be shitloads more.
I don't remember any vendors at Desire. Are there vendors at Desire?
No, but
So there's nobody on the beach.
Okay, so at Hedonism, it's a private beach, so you actually can't enter the facilities unless you are a guest at Hedonism. There's a security guard at the end of each side of the beach that could be accessed by them. In Mexico, the beach is not private, so people from next door resorts, children, etc., walk all on the beach at both of the other resorts in Mexico. This one has a private beach, so that's what I mean by the fact that it was more secure and I liked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, because you didn't see any children and families and stuff.
Yeah, but I didn't see any children or families at the other place either.
Your memory is completely gone
Fucking
because
like 10 years ago we went there. Jesus. I mean, I'm pretty sure the place has probably got new roofs by now.
well, we were last there 4 years ago, so calm down.
Oh, sorry, 4 years ago. Halfway to 10 years. Almost, if you round up like you do with our marriage.
Yeah, but the difference there is that you will see people coming and kind of gawking and walking up and down the beach.
Really?
You don't see that at this resort. So I liked that.
They're checking out my old saggy man balls.
And checking them out.
Fucking good luck to you. Enjoy.
I liked that. Something that I was a little bit shocked about, I have to say, but this is really neither here nor there, was that the grounds weren't as manicured as I was expecting them to be. I guess coming from resorts in Asia where, like, again, it's like that tropical climate and you've got all these beautiful flowers and hedges and really manicured places. I guess because the beach is so goddamn big, in terms of all the sand everywhere, that they can't do that. So I was expecting, I guess, that.
You didn't remember walking through the huge forest to get to the fucking nude pool every day?
Yeah, like the
It was a
little
fucking
tree
huge-
area.
It's a forest. I mean, yeah, you don't get much more tree than a forest.
You know what I'm talking about, though, with like the beautiful little manicured hedges, like what you see in like Thailand and stuff like that.
Yeah, when you're comparing it to a 5-star Thai resort, it's got less manicured fucking gardens.
Again, it's neither here nor there. It's just something that I
It's
know.
a weird fucking comment.
People are going to be like,
Ooh,
whoa.
man, it was terrible that, there wasn't enough fucking hedging.
Yeah.
There wasn't enough hedgerows. Oh, man, I could smash a hedgerow right now.
Here's another thing that I really liked as well.
I feel sexier with hedgerows around.
I do.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, it makes me like,
Sexier.
it makes me get wet.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because I'm like all these tropical flowers.
Yeah, between the hedgerows
Look
and
at the dew
and
on
the
that.
fucking lockers.
Look at the dew on that flower over there.
Were there any lockers, babe? Imagine a hedgerow beside a locker. You'd be like fucking sliding around like a snail.
I liked the fact that there were multiple pools and multiple areas as well. So whilst there was like the one pool where everybody kind of congregates around, there are little pools everywhere all over the property as well. And I liked that because I think it's a good opportunity to flirt. If you want to grab somebody and go and flirt with them in a quiet environment, you can do that away from like the craziness of the pool.
Flirt with them in a quiet environment.
Yeah.
Okay, so you grab somebody from the nude pool to take them away to flirt with them. Pretty sure you've already organised a bit of flirting before you leave the nude pool.
You know what I mean, though? Like having that connection, if you want to kind of get away from everything and connect a little bit more.
No cunt's doing that.
Why are you shitting all over my shit?
Because no cunt's doing that. How many people did you take away from the main pool?
5 other people.
You
6 including
liar.
you. No, we
You're
did.
lying.
Wednesday. We went and hung out on the gazebo.
Don't even.
Hang out in the little pool.
Don't even. That's horse shit and you know it.
Horseshit that we did that because we definitely did it. I have witnesses. I have stories. Yeah, you got nothing.
Yeah, and how was that flirting session?
It was great.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Okay. You flirted a lot, did you?
Not really. We hung out. It was great. I think it's a really good opportunity for you to do that. So if you are interested, you can go and do that. You can go and hang out in the smaller pools and everything.
Of course, yeah, by yourself. I can enjoy it. You and 0 of your friends.
Yeah, the daytime pool things, the activities and the host there wasn't for me. I understand this changes week to week, like depending on who's hosting, what groups are there. But the daytime pool activities with the pegging, like poolside pegging and stuff just wasn't my jam.
Pegging?
Oh, sorry, pegging and strap-on activities weren't really my jam. But anyway, so the activities...
Not my jam either.
Yeah, the poolside things, like that sort of show, I guess, is not really my jam. A lot of people really loved it, though. So, I think I'm in the minority there with my hedges remark. But again, I think it's super dependent on who is hosting, because the pool parties are hosted by the groups that are there, not by hedonism. So, food and drinks. I mean, you're at an all-inclusive. It's never going to be, like, super way fantastic. We missed out on doing the hibachi, and I understand the hibachi was absolutely tasty and fun because Honey Spoons did the hibachi and it was kind of laced in with like sexual innuendos when the chef was making it all, and it was really, they said it was really, really tasty. We tried to go there 2 times. We missed out, damn it, which was a bit of a shame. I liked the Italian restaurant. It was probably my favorite on site because it was actually kind of indoors in a restaurant in air conditioning and felt more restaurant-y as opposed to kind of like a buffet or whatever. There's another restaurant which is called Flame. It was closed when we were there, but we did kind of have the same kind of menu and food up at the top pool. I understand that restaurant's actually open now, so we missed it by like 2 weeks or something like that. I do wish I knew about the beachside grilling before I figured that out later in the week. It wasn't until like 2 days before we were leaving when I realized there was this whole grill set up on the beach, which was a bit of a shame. And for me, the only other thing I'd say is that a cocktail menu would be fabulous, or like a cocktail of the day, because I completely lack in decision-making skills, particularly after 7 days of drinking. And there was one point there where I went up to the bar and the guy's like, what do you want? And I said, what'd you make the last person? Because I'll have that. And if you don't know cocktail names, I suppose you would be shit out of luck because there's no menu.
Yeah. I mean, the drinks are... okay, so I'm a big fan of drinks that are poured, not free poured. They're actually shot poured, right? The reason behind that is because you get the same drink each time. So the issue with the free pouring is at a place like this where it's free. You know, if you're out paying for it, you don't mind a free pour because you may end up with more than what you're paying for.
You feel like you're getting more bang for your buck.
Exactly. But when it's a place like this, you actually want to have something that you can rely on throughout the day because you're drinking from fucking 10 a.m. through to 4 a.m. Generally, right? So for me, a shot poured or a measured poured drink would be would have been really nice because you could never tell whether you were going to get something that would set your hair on fire or something that was okay to drink. The reason I say this is many times, and I know there were other people doing this as well, you'd take a sip, you put the drink down, and then you kind of forget about it because it wasn't something you wanted to drink because it was too hot, right? So that was certainly something that I think would be better if it was shot poured. Also, they'd save them a fuckload of money, just quietly, which is the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just some pouring caps for the bottles would be great. Not a real big problem, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, we're kind of looking for good and bad at the small part here so that we can help people understand
what to expect. I will say that you didn't really have to I never
waited for a drink.
I wait a couple of minutes.
Not even. I mean, yeah, the drinks are, the guys behind the bars, very, very fast.
Yeah, at all bars. So what I'm saying by that, there are multiple bars around the property that you can drink from, and there's the main nude pool bar, and then you've got one kind of up at nighttime near the buffet and near the entertainment area. The only place I did try to wait for a drink was in the piano bar one night, but that place was chockers, and it had one person working there and then they had to bring more staff in. I don't think they realised how many people were going to be interested in the piano bar that night.
That place was full, just to convert from Australian again.
What did I say?
Chockers.
Chockers. Oh, shit. I didn't even realise. Yeah, it was...
Which is shortening for chock full.
It was chockers. Chock-a-block.
Chock-a-block.
Chock-a-block. Chock-a-block, you know? But yeah, I mean, really couldn't fault the bartenders. Like they were pretty well on it the entire time, and even actually... At the breakfast buffet, if you you can order a coffee or a juice from the staff that come around, and again, they'd go off, get it, bring it back. Like I don't think I could fault the actual service in that regard at all.
I couldn't fault the service at all. In fact, I think it's probably the best service we've had at any location for quite some time. The service was spectacular. The people were lovely from start to finish. Even our cleaner, even she, you know, when we were talking, I was asking her, like, where's some local food and what's the places you go to? And so she gave me some advice as well. They were really lovely. Everyone was lovely, honestly.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You can tell that they're paid I would feel that they're paid quite well by comparison to the people around the island. And they're also paid well enough that the tipping thing goes away. I mean, you're not allowed to tip on site anyway. You're not supposed to. Mm-hmm. But because of that... Everybody
gets the same level of customer service.
Yeah, and it's really high. It's a high level of customer service.
Yeah, and I will say that a lot of the staff there too, you know, they're not just, we've all been here for a year. A lot of the staff have been
there years.
Years and years and years. Yeah. So, you know, some of them we met been there for 7 years. I think there was one of the bar staff was like 20 years or something crazy, like a really long time. So, yeah, I'd agree with that. Let's talk about the people. Who attends? What's the average age? What are your thoughts on those things? What did you see there?
I didn't get the food yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry. What do you think about the food?
The food for me, the buffet is broad. but I found it kind of boring. The reason I say that is it was the same thing every day, realistically, for the buffet, with the exception of, I know they do like the Asian day and the this day and the that day, but the food that is at the buffet for those days is typically quite beside the normal. So there's just like a standard area that has the same thing every day.
Yeah, it's like they've always got like a salad bar. They always have like a carvery station. Yeah.
But there's but the thing, I found the things that were done specialties on the days, a lot of them were quite heavy in terms that they were generally quite deep fried or generally heavy food in total. There wasn't a lot of range at the buffet if you didn't want steak and potatoes. I mean, you can't get steak and potatoes at the buffet, but you know what I mean. It was very. It's
a buffet.
Yeah, it's a very much a buffet.
What I will say though, I mean, even though you said buffets aren't your jam anyway.
No, not at all.
But
so yeah, again,
what I will say is though,
the
food was turned and cooked and cleaned. Like I would say.
Oh yeah, and the food is perfectly adequate.
Yeah.
I'm just being a fucking snob because I like good food.
I did also like the sushi. They had one of the nights. They had like a little sushi area, and I was attacking the shit out of that. So
yeah,
that was good. Can we move on to the people?
Yes.
Okay, so in terms of the people who attends average age, what are your thoughts? And then I'll jump into what I saw.
The average age is the age spectrum is from 30s through to 60s.
You think 60 was the top?
Yeah.
Okay.
60s, so that's all the way up to 69.
So you think that guy in the loincloth that day...
so I think if you want to pick the exceptions, there's one guy there that was 90, and there was also one guy there who was fucking 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can pick the exceptions, but if you want the guts of who's there, that's what I gave you.
So I would say, first of all, I want to say also this is super group dependent from our experience, which was, 7 days, the only time I've been there. When we arrived, there was a group of about 150 people departing, and that particular group would have skewed the age to significantly older than the average, I think, because of that, the size of that group and the type of that group. So it's super group dependent. I would say, though, it's probably the most diverse location that we've been in, I think, in terms of the age, the size, and the cultural background of people. You're looking at me funny. Do you not agree with that?
Have you forgotten France? I mean, fuck. Quite literally for people from all over the world there.
Yeah, true.
Carb is literally a multicultural environment.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me backtrack then. Let me say it's the most diverse I've seen at a all-inclusive swingers resort.
So, okay, so it's either Desire or Hedo is what you're talking about.
Basically.
Yeah, well done. Okay, cool. So out of N equals 2, it being your subset, this one was more broadly covered by individuals from different places and cultures. And
well, it's not just that, also physical shape too. We saw everybody there from, I don't know what American sizes are. I'm going to call it a size 6 Australian.
So that's so you're looking for 0.
Okay, that's a 0 there. Through to like a size 22 to 24 in Australian.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Take 6 away from it.
Okay, cool. So I think also it had the most diverse body shape and age and cultural background that we've seen.
Okay. I mean, nobody gives a shit. I'm just going to disagree with you and say that, no, I don't agree, but that doesn't matter because it really doesn't matter. It depends on the group you take with you
that's
or the
true.
Group that's there.
Yep.
From what I learnt from the very first day of getting there, from the group of 150 that left, if that group of 150 was still there when we were there, I probably would have been very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important you understand when you're going to Hedo who you're going with.
Yep.
Or who's there.
Yeah, agreed.
Right? If you're going alone as a couple or even as a single, which you can, of course, then make sure you understand who's there. Because if the group of people who left, I was not interested in hanging out with.
Well, they all looked really sourpuss in the face too, but I don't know, maybe that's because they're leaving from their holiday. I'm not too sure, but...
That wasn't the reason.
Yeah.
But there's, I don't need to state the reasons, but I'm just saying the people that were there with the morning we arrived were not my cup of tea. Yeah. So I very much encourage you, if you're going there, to make sure you know who's going, or pick a group who you know is
same ilk as you.
Yeah, in the similar vein to what you enjoy.
Yeah. That
would be my advice because the idea of going there and stumbling into what we did on the very first day, if that was 7 days of that, I wouldn't have stayed at the hotel for 7 days if that was the case.
Yep. Let's burn through the parties. So the night parties, they give you the option to kind of stay up at the night party. The disco is sometimes open, so is the piano bar. There's really quite a few options if you want to go to different places around it. For the glow night, they had a DJ that was outside. I enjoyed that aspect of it, being outside in the main area.
So let's be clear, it was fucking hot the whole time we were there.
Yeah, it was hot.
Sweat your fucking balls off the whole time.
Yeah, at one point I was wearing a see-through dress that is literally mesh and I was still sweating.
Yeah, it's warm.
So I liked the outside bit. I'm never a person that likes to the sit and watch the entertainment. And don't get me wrong, their entertainment was fantastic. You know, one night they had a singer, the other night they had BDSM performers. Like the entertainment that they had was, you couldn't fault it. It was absolutely fantastic. Every night, every single night, they had great entertainment.
Yeah, one of the things, this is one of the misnomers that, well, not misnomer, but one of the complaints that we hear from desirees, which is what
misconceptions.
I'm going to call people who are 100%, you know, desires the best in the world and there's nothing else worth going to. The misconception is there's no entertainment at Hedo, which is absolutely wrong. There's entertainment every fucking night, during the day as well, poolside. There's entertainment. The whole time we were there, we were not unentertained.
Yeah.
There was plenty going on and good entertainment as well, right? The biggest difference was most of the time the entertainment in Hedo is outdoors, which means you're in the heat, whereas in Desire it's indoors, which means you're in air conditioning, but it also means you're packed in, touching a whole heap of people.
Exactly.
Right, so there's ups and downs to both of this. One of the misconceptions being no entertainment is an absolute untruth. There is plenty of entertainment.
Yeah. And good.
Yes.
Really good stuff.
Yes, absolutely. I'm very impressed. I mean, it's all generally young Jamaicans doing the entertainment. Generally,
Yep.
They are exceptionally good at what they do. They really are. The bands were good.
The DJ was good.
The DJ was good. If there was any singular complaint that I had, and this is going to sound fucking old, but you know,
It was loud.
in for a couple of the nights, it was so loud in the area that I left with ringing ears. And I'm not exaggerating. We actually all as a group, many times, or at least a couple of times, got up and left the enclosed, the covered area because it was too loud for us to the point of pain.
Yeah.
So that would be the only thing. And look, if you're 10 years older than me, you wouldn't fucking hear it anyway. And if you're 10 years younger than me, you probably didn't give a shit. So, you know, it's just I'm in the sweet spot where I can still hear and it's fucking annoying.
Daytime activities, they have free snorkeling, free scuba diving. What's those little boat things? The catamaran, the miniature cats, mini cats.
Hobby cat.
They're those all free that you can go out and do. I liked that aspect of it, the fact that you could go out and do those things as well. So there's entertainment during the day, there's things to do during the day, but there's also that aspect too. If you want to go out on a snorkeling trip, get aboard one of the free boats and go off and do that. That was cool. Let's talk about the sex. I want to talk really quickly about, you know, again, other people think that you're going to these resorts, there's going to be sex everywhere, like constant sex, like just people fucking by the pool, right? That's blowjobs.
That's your blowjob. Fucking Jesus! No wonder nobody wants a blowjob.
So there is a little grotto, little playroom area by the hot tub. I saw a few people going in there, not like a huge amount of people, but no. I mean, again, another misconception is that there's going to be this crazy, ridiculous sex happening all around you. Don't get me wrong. There is a sexy environment. You'll see the occasional blowjob. Like I said, the entertainment people were using a strap-on. They had butt plugs. They were doing all of that sort of stuff. But it is not something where you're just going to walk in and there's just going to be this crazy kind of sex that's happening all around you.
Nor will you be attacked by single men.
Another misconception. Thank you very much, Daryl.
Yeah, so this was a huge misconception. In fact, the issues we had while we were there, and I say issues, might not even been plural. It may have been issue, were not single men. They were married men or couples.
Yeah.
The single men who were there, which there were only a few, were very polite.
Yeah.
Frankly, I think
too polite, probably.
Yeah, in some cases they were. Yeah. Yeah, so...
Yeah, that's a huge misconception. I remember thinking back in the day...
So, again, the desirees out there who are like, oh, my God, you'll go there and you'll get fucking pounced by single men.
Yeah, like men...
Total fucking horseshit.
Like roaming in packs and just like moving among... No, that's bullshit.
Maybe at the beach in fucking Carp D'Arg,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
But, you go to the beach and get nude in Carp D'Arg, you've given implicit consent for a group of men to gather around you and jerk off.
Yeah, so there was very, very few single men. The ones that were there were super respectful. Can't fault it. I think that whole misunderstanding and misconception about single men at Hedo is total horseshit.
Yeah, and so let's be very clear about that as well, because our listeners understand that we play with single guys, so they may have this concept that we're more okay with single men being around. It's not. There is no single men around. Like, it's not like that. It really isn't.
Yeah.
In fact, for me, I would have preferred there were more single men around, so we actually had somebody to fucking choose from. Honestly, there was, and we had a single guy in our group, a fucking lovely dude. We spent a bit of time with him there, and also in New York after it.
Yep.
But polite, lovely, educated, all the right things, and that was the level of individual that was there. They were all
exactly
very nice people.
I wanted to touch on another thing too, another misconception, drugs. So another one that people say,
everyone's off their head fucking constantly.
is, you can't walk from the restaurant to the pool without walking through a fucking cloud.
I went to New York afterward, and there was more fucking smoke in the air there than there was in Jamaica. And believe me, I am not actually exaggerating, because I was walking down the road with my CEO who lives in New York. He lives on Manhattan. And he's like, yeah, the fucking, it's just everywhere. Like, the amount of smoke that's here, you just walk through it constantly. And he's absolutely on the money. I mean, there is more pot smoked in fucking New York, or in many places in the US or Canada.
Yeah, exactly. So they do have a new pot shop on site called Hedo Weedo, but this misconception that basically you're going to go to Hedo and the entire time you're going to smell pot and everyone's going to be off their head. It's just not true.
Well, I'm sure if you go with a group that goes there to just get fucking off their head and fucked up, then yes, it's probably true.
Probably true, yeah. But your average
But you can go to any resort or any club and have a group of people there who have the same idea, who turn up stoned off their head on fucking ecstasy or, whatever. It's just not it wasn't a thing.
Yeah. Are there drugs there? Yes, there are. Are they overused or constant?
No,
not at all. Were we harassed to take them all the time? No. I
actually feel that it's quite a lot like the Dutch mentality for drugs in Jamaica. Because it's been around. It's been around forever. It's never really been illegal, So it's like the French with fucking wine. Their kids get given wine, they're watered down wine when they're like 6 years old, right? So it's not a fucking problem. So nobody craves the drugs or booze or anything else in it. Yeah, it's...
All right, I've got 4 more things I want to cover. So lessons learned and misconceptions. We've already covered a ton of misconceptions about this. One of them was the nude versus prude thing. Another thing that I guess you hear about, places around the world are clothing optional, with emphasis on optional, whereas at Hedo there are areas where you have to be nude. And I remember being quite terrified of that prospect years ago, not having this choice to be nude. It was not an issue. I didn't find an issue with it. There's plenty of areas where you can be clothing optional if you'd like. Yes, there is one area of the property where you must be nude, but honestly, it was fine. Like, I didn't feel forced into it or anything like that. I didn't feel any negative emotions towards it.
Well, it kind of takes away your choice, right? So you
rip the Band-Aid off if you're a little bit hesitant.
Really. Yeah, I mean, and typically we're a little hesitant. Typically we take a few days to warm up to the idea of just walking out nude.
Yeah.
When you know you have to be nude at the pool, it just makes it easy.
Yeah.
It takes away the concern about the decision. And I think it's concern about the decision more than anything else.
Yeah, and I guess you're wondering, am I going to be the odd person out that's nude or whatever? I mean, everybody's nude, so it's fine. Which side would you stay in? I would personally stay in the prude side now. It is about $40 roughly, I think, cheaper per night. I'm not fussed. I would probably stay in the prude side.
I'd stay there just because it's cheaper. There's no other reason. I mean, the
rooms are exactly the same.
The rooms are the same. The distance is not that much of a problem. I mean, if you've got a group of friends who are all in similar rooms very close to each other, then that may make the difference. But it doesn't matter. My
costumes are heat dependent, definitely. I
wear the skimpiest shit you can because it's fucking hot. Even as a guy.
Yeah, wear booty shorts and a bra. Like, just build your whole wardrobe around that. 7 days is too many. I would say for us, it is. One of the lessons learned, I think, for us is that 7 days on a resort like that is probably too much for us.
You're saying us, but you mean me.
No, I mean us. I mean, 7 days is a lot. So
yeah, but you were entirely comfortable the whole way through.
So I would probably say just think about how you're dynamic in your own relationship, how you'd feel about that. maybe book that. We mentioned Mo Bay before. Book it if it's going to be super busy, but if you're the first flight in, don't bother because there's nobody in the line. So, make your decision. Would we go back? Daryl, would you go back?
Yeah, I'd go back. So one of the things being very clear here, so whichever all-inclusive resort, whether it's a lifestyle resort or not, I don't care. I'm not an all-inclusive, consistent holiday man.
Yeah.
I need more.
You like a bit of a break?
No, it's not a bit of a break. I need more than that. I want to do interesting things. I want to go to new places. I don't wish to return to the same locations time and time again.
Yeah.
Right? It's not who I am.
Yeah.
So people wonder why we've been so many places.
That's why.
A lot of it's work, but anytime we get a chance to go somewhere, we're not going back to the same place.
Yeah.
We go somewhere different.
Yeah.
Just about every time, unless we find somewhere we really adore, which is, can you name anywhere that you absolutely adore and have to go back?
I'd like to go back to Cambodia.
Yeah.
Phnom Penh was nice.
Yeah, but
yeah, I get you.
So this is the core of the problem for me is I enjoy the events when I'm there.
Yeah.
But I hate the fact that to me it starts to feel like Groundhog
repetitive.
Day. And this is any of the resorts.
Yeah.
Just being clear, this is not Hedo dependent. So this is very much my personal opinion.
Would I go back? I would go back with a caveat. I would go back with a group only. I would never go to this resort just us two, honestly. I just wouldn't do that.
No, me neither.
I would probably go to other places just us two, but hedonism with how group dependent the resort is and how much it can shift your experience week on week, I would be going with a group.
Yeah, actually, didn't think of that. Desire is significantly more
transient, I guess.
No, like it's unchanging.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like it doesn't. So a group will come in to take over the place, but they don't take over the poolside events.
They don't change it.
It's not. So it's a lot more consistent. That's one of the things about Desire. Yeah, I think one of the other misconceptions I think that I've heard is that if you go to Desire to just relax around the pool versus Hedo to party. Well, I don't think that that's the case at all. I think they're actually both very similar in that regard.
And look, if you guys do want us to do a side-by-side review of the places we've been and the misconceptions, we can do that in an absolutely dedicated episode. But for me, I would go back during a good week with a good group and maybe for 5 days. We did this for Cup Darg. Who would you recommend Hedo for? So in Cup Darg, we kind of said, okay, by our experience, it's kind of for these types of people and don't go there if you're this type of person. Who would you recommend Hedo for?
Anyone, realistically. I don't think it's age nor shape nor party bound. I think it's a very inclusive location. I don't think it matters what sex, race, orientation, ethnicity. It really doesn't seem to matter.
And would you recommend it for people that are brand new to the lifestyle, veterans? Like, do you think there is a difference there then? If you're saying it's for everybody, what about someone who's 6 months in versus 6 years in?
No, I think it's fine because if you're 6 months in and you go to the nude pool and you get overwhelmed, you can just turn around and go back to one of the others.
Oh, one of the other pools where you might want to take somebody to go and have a talk.
No, just to get away from everyone.
Yeah, okay.
So, there's plenty of places that you can go. And the other thing is, you can just leave the resort. This is crazy, right? The idea that you might step off the resort and go and have a meal somewhere else.
Yeah.
You can also do that. That's something you can do. But yeah, you can do that anywhere, of course. But it's 7 days, I think, is probably too long for somebody who's new.
Yeah.
Depending on how adventurous they are.
True.
Because it's a lot. It's in your face all day.
Yep.
But frankly, again, you can just disappear to one at the other end of the resort and you're fine. You're away from all of that.
So for me, I think I agree with everything you're saying there. The only thing that I would add to that is that I think if you're 33, 35 and under, you might want to really, really make sure, like what you said before, Daryl, who's going to be there, which group you're going with.
I think that's for everyone.
There is a new type of event that Hedonism is actually arranging, and it's kind of aimed towards that younger demographic. But I can imagine, we went to Desire the first time when I was 29, and even back then, I was, I think, 2 decades the youngest person in the pool. I think that the average here,
You might be exaggerating a little. Well, there was at least one person in the pool
you are.
who was a fucking within the decade.
But I'm saying the bell curve average. So, again, it's probably something that I would...
Are we talking about the bell curve or the average? Let's be specific.
God, shut up. Overall rating
Don't do math wrong.
Overall rating out of 5, so we can close this podcast out. What would your overall rating out of 5 be?
I'd give it a 4.
You give it a 4?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Why?
It's not normal that I'm actually rating something under.
I'd give it a 4. I think the resort's fine. The one thing we didn't touch here is the group we went with.
Well, I'm not doing that on purpose.
You're not doing it on purpose, but that we've just stated the only way to go to this resort is if you know who's going and to go with people that you think you'll be into.
Yeah.
I mean, there was everyone I was into.
Okay.
Like everyone.
Okay, well, I'm going to give it 2 ratings in that case because on the next episode, we're going to talk about our experience and who we were there with and everything that happened. I will give it a 4 based on our group that was there. If I'm just going to give it...
God damn,
if I'm going to give it a rating just at face value on the resort, on all of these things that we've discussed, I'd give it a 3.5.
Okay, so what would you give Carp then? Because you gave Carp higher than that.
Well, Carp had different restaurants that you can go to every night, all of these types of things.
It also had a hole in the door.
Yeah, it had a hole in the door, which was not great. But yeah, that's my rating. So if it's with the people that we were there with, it's 4. If it's just as a standalone,
if you include the people, for me, it was probably a 4.5 to 5.
Yeah,
I mean, it wouldn't fucking matter where we were.
That's
if
true.
we were with those people.
Yeah,
we could be in a fucking hovel.
Yep.
A hobbit hovel.
Mm-hmm.
But with that group, I'd be happy to look from behind and see them hunched over.
If anybody does want us to do a side-by-side kind of comparison review of the pros and cons of each of them, because there are some people out there that are diehard hedonism people, there are people out there that are diehard desirees, and both people that are diehard think the other one is not so great. And we want to...
No, they think it's shit, and they're entitled to that opinion.
There are, but I'm going to clear up some of that stuff. So if anyone wants that, email me. Let me know. So now, all of that being said, if you are interested in heading to Hedonism Resort, we did mention that we recommend you go with a group, and we'd like to kind of give a bit of a shameless plug to our friends because Casual Swinger, Mickey and Mallory of the Casual Swinger podcast are going to Hedonism next year from the 1st to the 8th of April. If you guys are interested in joining them and their guests and attendees, head over to casualswingerweek.com and all the information is there on their website. So that's April 1st to the 8th in 2023. They are heading over. Daryl and I aren't going to be able to join them for this event, but if you're interested in going to Hedonism, we do highly recommend that you actually go with our good friends Mickey and Mallory. They're longtime hedonism lovers. They know the resort, they know the local area, and they would be a great group to go with. So if you're interested in that, head over to casualswingerweek.com. No, this is not a sponsored post. We just wanted to give them a shout out because they're our mates, and honestly, if we were going to head back, that's who we would go with. So thanks so much for listening to that review of Hedonism Resort in Jamaica, guys. I really want to give a thank you and a shout out to our newest patrons for November. So big thank you to Joe, Charles, Connor, Nathan, TNA from Ohio, Bobby, Starsky73, and Guillaume. Thank you so much for supporting us over on Patreon. We really, really appreciate all of our patrons and all of the support that you guys offer us month in, month out for producing the podcast. We also had another review this month, so a big thank you also to Smooth ALX, and it says, great podcast. I've been listening to the podcast for quite some time now and always look forward to a new episode. C&D are a great couple. You don't have to be in the lifestyle to appreciate their shows, just not to be closed-minded. So thank you so much to Smooth ALX for leaving us a podcast review. We really, really appreciate it. Well, that has been episode 158, our review of Hedonism Resort in Jamaica. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate you. Next episode, we're going to talk about what we did on site, so stick around for that and see you later.
They're sticking around for that, are they?
Stick around for that.
They're just going to hang out at the fucking download thing with their finger hovered over the button, waiting for a month for that to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe don't stick around. Go and have a life. Enjoy it. Do something interesting. Come back in a month then download the next episode.
Have a great November. See you guys next time.
Sorry for Kate's ridiculous scale.
Bye.